Alright, we are going in blind to this intensely interesting matchup. On one side, we have Lord Thorx, who is a very modern DPP Ubers player. He's great, he's very in touch with the metagame. On the other side, we have an old school French player, Cristal, who was one of my favorites to watch a long time ago in OU and Ubers alike. So, here we go. Rayquaza Tyranitar. So, lead T-Tar. Well, number one, it has a hard time fitting an Ice Beam or Stone Edge on its standard rock sets. So even if it does have them, then Ray runs Sash and Airlock negates Sand. So, but generally, that's only the case if you're running 4 attack Sash T-Tar, and in that case, then you don't mind going down to 1 HP. Because you're just trying to attack everything anyway. It's not like it's also your rocker. Whereas if it's your rocker, then you want to get up rocks, because getting up... if you're KOing something like DOA, that's one thing, because you're getting a KO for it. But sacrificing your rocker just to bring Ray down to the Sash, or even just to break its Sash, that's a bad feeling. So, but the thing is that Ray is so threatening that not doing those things can also be kind of unpleasant. That's why Custap T-Tar is really cool. You can take a Brick Break from full and then Rocks end, then still break its Sash before going down, because you resist E-Speed nicely. Of course, if you have Ice Beam or Stone Edge, as is probably going to be more likely now with the influx of Ho-Oh lead, the latter anyway, not Ice Beam, then you might be happy to face a Lum Rayquaza, but Sash is overwhelmingly popular, so... the decision on Ray's end is easy. You Brick Break, you EQ, whichever one. Non-Life Orb Brick Break will not KO T-Tar, but it'll bring it down real low. So the decision is really, the Ray thing is straightforward. The T-Tar thing is more, what am I going to do? And it depends on the team it has and what it's going to follow up with, not just what it's going to do on any given turn. Ray can also choose to not run Brick Break on its lead set and run Draco Fire Blast Outrage E-Speed, just so you have that second powerful Dragon Stab after you -2 special attack. And you can Draco T-Tar effectively because Airlock removing or negating Sand also removes the Spit F boost, so you really slam it hard. So, yeah, those are Ray's options. Basically, which way is it going to hit T-Tar really hard? T-Tar is like, alright, well, what am I going to do to not get instantly destroyed by this thing? So, Ray goes for the Brick Break. It is a Sash Tar, and it gets up rocks. Okay, so Ray remains at full health, so likely Sash intact. So now the question is going to be, what is the follow-up going to be? This is why Ray is one of the most dangerous leads in Ubers. He just lets T-Tar go. It's too hard to switch into Rayquaza. Understand completely. Here comes Kyogre, and this is why Ray really likes Outrage. It's not going to have it here because it has Brick Break, and Draco Meteor is still going to sting really hard, but... that's a good logic on Cristal's end, because if it Dracos and it's going to have Outrage, then at least it'll be -2, and it'll be slightly easier to deal with. I can go to something like Jirachi, and the -2 Fire Blast won't sting as bad. And if it has Brick Break, then it won't have Outrage, so it's not going to destroy Kyogre as hard. So not a great start either way, but still better than, or still well thought out no matter what. And he has the rocks, and that's crucial. That's going to be long-term. I mean, this is why people sacrifice pokes for hazards all the time, because the hazards are such an incredible tool. So, and for Thorx to come back, then he's going to, return his own hazards, then that's going to be a turn where Cristal can use to generate offense and get caught up. So... that kind of, that's the dynamic at play here. Here comes Jirachi on the assumed Ice Beam. If it's Thunder Wave, that would be really helpful. Thunder Wave does nothing to that very bulky Jirachi, and Rachi is great alongside Ray because, you aim an Ice move or a Dragon move at it, and it just comes in and absorbs them. Or even a Rock move. And since so many of them are choice, then Jirachi's going to get a lot of free turns. So Rocks, U-turns, Wish, Spread Paralysis, all those Jirachi things. And the fact Ray switched out there makes me think it's Lum. It really does, because if it's Sash, I mean, you can just stay in and bludgeon the Kyogre and get effectively a 2-for-1, as opposed to going to Jirachi and Body Slam on Kyogre, which is not the most optimal thing. So I have to assume that he was really scared of the Scarf Ice Beam, and because he was Lum. Because if it's Sash, then you would want to stay in, not just to do damage to the Kyogre, but to find out what set it is. So I'm assuming it is a Lum thing, and it's Body Slam, and it is... Well, it's a non-lefties, non-lum Kyogre, so I have to assume it's like Whacken or Custap or something. So that oh no, it's lefties. It didn't come in with Rocks Up. Okay, so it's lefties. That Parafull Para is not good, and lets Jirachi get off scot-free where it probably shouldn't have. And now Dialga comes in scot-free too, to get up rocks on the Parad Kyogre. So now Kyogre starts spreading T-Wave, and T-Wave might have been nice against the Ray because it also hits switch-ins nicely, but. And it works, so now Kyogre gets the Para on the Dialga at least, and Scizor comes in. And now Ray's used a pivot, so that's effective. Because if you turn, then Ray's Rock's weak and has a hard time switching in anyway. And if it comes in on Superpower, then you threaten to melt something else, which is wonderful either way. Cristal makes a great move, keeps up momentum with U-turn, not playing too straightforward, and brings in Dialga for a big Scarf Draco Meteor, and Jirachi absorbs that nicely. So now Jirachi's gonna, wish, U-turn, who knows, it depends. I shouldn't have been that healthy, most likely, but there's the wish, and now he's probably going to just pass it off to Dialga, not do much. And if Kyogre, Ice Beam's trying to get Ray, I guess, but I don't know, that didn't do much. And now Scizor comes into Dialga again, threatening Superpower, and he is threatening the Dialga out because, yes, Choice Band Superpower won't KO, but then this Dialga is going to go down, and Kyogre is going to become a lot more threatening. So now he's in a similar position to last time, except Ray can't switch in anymore. Can't switch into Rocks and U-turn or Superpower, so he's a lot more free to Superpower this time around. But he's going to sack Ray, and he could still U-turn in case he doesn't want to, be locked into Superpower and give something a super free switch-in. Instead, he could U-turn to something else and, be a lot less of a sitting duck. But he superpowers just so that was really nicely done by Cristal. And in comes Wob. Oh, that's rough. So Scizor's going down, and but at least Ray went down. I mean, Wob alongside Ray, that's a great combo. You're really covering all the, you start out games hitting really hard, and then you will. And then when the inevitable revenge kill attempt comes in, then you destroy that too. So win-win. So here comes Cristal's own Ray, looking to even the score. And Dialga's threatened by it, Jirachi's threatened by it, Wob's threatened by it, and you don't even know whether you want to Encore or Mirror Coat it. Counter or Mirror Coat it. So Thorx makes the safe move and goes for Encore. And Dracos. I don't know why he didn't go to Jirachi there and didn't preserve the Wob, because it was at -2, but so that might actually come back to bite him later. Now, if this Dialga does not have Roar and the Kyogre Calm Minds, he could potentially be in some trouble. That Ice Beam earlier was actually doing quite a lot of damage, but Cristal's just playing it very straightforward, and the damage continuously gets nullified by the Wish. But the Surf is doing a lot of damage. That feels like Modest Max or something. And, like a very offensively invested Kyogre and a not very offensively invested, not very defensively invested Dialga. So they revealed to be speed tying, at least while paralyzed, as that Thunder does a lot. So yeah, it's definitely more of an offensive Dialga. So, and that makes sense because you don't want to have Spit F Jirachi and a Super Spit F Dialga. That's just, redundant. So the Jirachi Wish support makes up for Dialga's lack of complete bulk and lets it run a more offensive set. So I like that. That's some really nice synergy. So that Thunder hits Kyogre really hard, and there's a lot of para action going on. But that lack of defense also means that this Draco is going to be a lot more threatening. But Jirachi comes in and absorbs the Draco once more. So Jirachi is just being an eternal pain right here. So in comes Ray again on the Forced Wish. And so here comes the Protect. And if he sets up here, like if it was a mixed Quasar, then that'd be real mixed DD Quasar, which that's a classic combo. You Draco the Groudon or Lugia, and then later in the game you somehow get a boost when it's not expected. It's hard to pull off because of Ray's Stealth Rock weakness and not being able to switch it on much, but you can definitely run Draco and a setup move on the same thing. Draco Outrage setup move and then E-Speed or something, or Fire Blast. So yeah, Fire Blast is still gonna roast Jirachi because Airlock nullifies Rain, so it's not gonna be weak and it's gonna do a million. And in comes Kyogre, and Cristal makes a great prediction, and Draco Meteors, and that is going to drop. And it finishes off with Extreme Speed, so I was kind of expecting him to pivot back to Jirachi, because now the Rayquaza is at -2, and most mixed Quasar don't run Brick Break, so Fire Blast is their way of beating Jirachi, and if it's at -2, then Jirachi can pivot into E-Speed, and then Protect for even more health, and then just Wish Protect Life Orb stall it more efficiently. It would have been nice to preserve Kyogre. I mean, I think he would have been in a much better position if he had, because he had a very safe opportunity to preserve both Wob and Kyogre as death fodder. That might come back to bite him later because Cristal still got a lot of Pokemon. But he's playing it very safely, and that Fire Blast does nothing at -2. And he doesn't Wish, which I thought was also surprising. So now here comes Kyogre, and Dialga comes back in, still very healthy. And yeah, it feels like he could have been a lot more careful with the health of the thing, of the Jirachi. Because now Dialga is going to come in and it eats a Dragon Pulse for a lot of damage. So that feels like modest max. That's at least what it feels like. But oh, and he stays in and Dragon Pulses on the Kyogre double. That's interesting. Well, I mean, it's more interesting that Cristal would make that double because I don't think he needed to do that, because if Jirachi comes in and, you know, wishes up, then Kyogre comes back in for free, and he can't heal both Jirachi and Dialga super safely. At least not without giving Kyogre back a lot of health, so I don't think that was necessary. I think it was probably safer to just Draco. And similarly, I guess, you know, Thorx was afraid of letting Jirachi go, but oh, so here comes Deoxys' attack, and that makes it even more likely that Jirachi's going to close this one out, because I don't think, I mean, Thunder, Life Orb, and Rain is going to hit hard, but it's not going to quite get the job done. Oh, wow, that's actually really close. I think there's no reason that shouldn't have been a Protect. Oh, but a Para full Para! Oh, man. And, well, this just got interesting, because there's the Scarf Dialga. Is there a Tina O? Oh, it's Darkrai. But if it's Scarf, then the game's over anyway. But it's not, and Superpower finishes it off. Wow, that was really something. I don't think that should have. Yeah, I think Thorx could have closed that out a lot more safely, because he had a lot going for him for most of that game. And I mean, props for the late game DOA from Cristal. That was nicely held back until it could do a lot more, as much damage as it could. And I always love seeing Ray and DOA together. Whether one of them leads or, in this case, neither of them led, and that's really unique. You don't see that very much at all. So, props for that. I like the team. It was an interesting game. So, let's move on to 2. So, Froslass, Cloyster, nice. Well, Froslass isn't UU anymore. I was going to say it's a battle of UU leads, but Froslass was banned from UU because it was ridiculous. Anyway, Payback Ice Shard will make quick work of Froslass, but sometimes Froslass has started running Ice Shard now just to break sashes. And so it can break Cloysters as well. So, and it doesn't always run Taunt, so Cloyster might want to get up some spikes and T-spikes while it can. But this one does run Taunt, and Cristal goes right for the Payback. Alright, so that Payback does surprisingly little damage. That Froslass is invested in bulk, or the Cloyster's invested in bulk. Either way, I don't think that Ice Shard's following up with a KO, which is surprising. Most of the time, Froslass runs a lot of special attack for Icy Wind and Shadow Ball to threaten, but I guess with DOS going so bulky, then you don't want to do that anymore, and Froslass sets have been adapting accordingly. So, I don't think this is EV'd for Cloyster in particular, because Cloyster's pretty rare, but there's definitely something funky going on with the bulk of one of these two. So, the Cloyster might be more bulky to take more Groudon EQs or something, who knows. Because usually Cloyster would also run like attack investment. But yeah, here's Spikes, and if this has Spin, then it can Spin on Kyogre at least. Otherwise, it's going to switch. Either way, whether it spins or whether it switches out and comes back in, then its Sash is going to be broken, assuming Kyogre switches out. I wonder if we're going to start seeing Explosion Cloyster leads. But Dialga comes in, as it so reliably does on Kyogre, to get up those rocks, and in comes Groudon on those rocks. So now the Groudon is all assumingly going to get up its own rocks, and Kyogre comes in on the Groudon rocks as well. So this is why it's nice to have rocks on something else. On many teams, Groudon and Dialga fit because they're such great rockers, but it's noticeable when you can put rocks on something else like Jirachi, and then as soon as your Groudon or Dialga come in, they're threatening instantly. It's nothing you notice that much until you get into a game and realize. I mean, imagine if that Kyogre was switching into Groudon's EQ. You know, not super fun. Anyway, so what's the switching going to be? Latios, Dialga. Either way, Cristal doubles to Scizor and catches Latios. Beautifully done. That is really, really nice. So now he threatens, U-turn or Pursuit. Both are pretty brutal options. U-turn is the safer one, and looks like that's what he did. Well, he didn't Bullet Punch, certainly. And now here comes Cloyster threatening some hazards or some spin. Probably hazards, because if it's running payback shard stuff, then it's not going to fit spin, most likely. But spikes are safer. In comes Dialga. And that's looking... Oh, it's T-Spikes. Okay, so he's getting both those weather guys down. So, okay, nice switch to Kyogre, because he's like, alright, this is either going to Draco, which, you know, I don't want to take, but I can, and it's not going to Thunder because it's sunny. And if it Fire Blast, that's wonderful. Or, like, Dragon Pulse is okay, too. Yep, there's Dragon Pulse. God, that does a lot. So maybe that Kyogre switch was not the wisest thing in the world. Okay, yeah, I'm going to take that back, because Cloyster definitely should have been sacked there, just to see what it locks into, rather than wasting the... I know there's Latias, but it's still Kyogre. I'm also starting to think that if the Cloyster has Spin, then it might want to use it, because it doesn't look like there's going to be a Tina-O on this team. Because there still has to be like a Draco taker of some sort. You know, even a halfway, or at least something fast, like Mewtwo in the last slot. But either way, I don't think Tina-O is going to fit in with the speed or bulk requirements of the 6th slot on Thorx's team. So, here comes Ludicolo. When that, with T-Spikes, is going to be annoying. Oh my god, that does so much. That's got to be, I don't know why I didn't think of Specs until, because 53 with Dragon Pulse to Kyogre is crazy. So yes, that is definitely a Specs Dialga. And I mean, Ludicolo is going to heal a lot, but it's going to have its Rain Dish cut off, and the Force protects, so good move from, and it's going to have a hard time coming back in because of the hazards. Oh, but I guess I didn't consider that. It's not like sun goes. It's not like it has dry skin, you know, where sun goes up and it's like not useful anymore. Because Groudon EQ is not going to hurt it. I mean, like a Lava Plume or whatever, who cares? It can be threatened, but actually Ludicolo was Stab Grass Knot most of the time, just for things like for actually hitting Kyogre and also hitting Groudon. So it's not like it wants to take that, and you know, it doesn't really get threatened by Dragon Claw or something. So Ludicolo is deceptively annoying to Groudon, and it can still Leech Seed stuff even in Sun. And Jirachi comes in, so there's the Draco taker. And it's not like Jirachi... So this is pretty funny. You don't see this every day. Ludicolo continuing to be threatening even under Sun. Now, I mean, if there's going to be like a pivot... Oh, I don't know about that. That felt... No, I don't know. I think he had to protect there and then like Leech or something, because Cloyster just gives it... Yeah, I think that was falling too far behind. So yeah, now Ludicolo had the potential to really get into a groove there, like protect, get more Leech. Because the double switch to Cloyster didn't accomplish anything. But if you protect and then get more Leech, and even if there's like a switch to Latias or something, that's still, you know, better than... the Cloyster double wouldn't have really done anything. So now here comes the Dialga trying to get something back. But the Jirachi, once again, is suffocating, so... there's a T-Wave. Oh, it's not going to be Scarf Dialga. It's Dragon Pulse Roar. Nice. Oh, wait, it's a Stealth Rock. I thought it was one of those non-rocks Roar Dragon Pulse support sets. Here comes Tina-O. And, alright, well, that's at least threatening. But at this point, it looks like Latias is threatening to clean something brutal. Latias and the Dialga alike. Because Crystal's remaining team... Actually, Crystal's team in general is very, very slow. Yeah, there's no Scarf, there's no really fast Pokemon, so... Well, Tina-O gets T-Waved, and now it looks like it's, well, the Wish goes off. Well, now the Jirachi's definitely going to win. I mean, it's going to Wish, and Dialga can't really hurt it. Well, now we have this little stalwart here. I like the Iron Headless support Jirachis. They are pretty cool. So, there's Thunder again, pivoting into the Specs Dialga. Oh, well, that's an interesting development. Draco Miss on the Roar, and in comes Latias, so not down yet, but it's not looking very good either. I mean, oh, well, I was expecting this to be a rope, but we have on this turn we have, I'll just set it to fast, we have a Dragon Pulse crit into Thunder in Sun, Para, while the Dialga itself was parried. Wow. So now the Roar on the full Para, so it can't protect and get its own Wish, and the Dialga gets its Wish instead. I mean, I still think it's too little too late, and the Dragon Pulse does a ton of damage, but you know, it's getting interesting at least. These full Paras are helpful for both somehow. Roar around, and Yeah, so just giving the Specs Dialga more room to operate. Yeah, I mean, you can PP stall, but that's still... Yeah, the Leech Seed is going to pull it out of -4 range, but still... Well, maybe. Actually, isn't he not out of PP now? No, he's got one more. It had pressure before, so he's got a Leech Seed again. Oh, it's Ice Beam, not Grass Knot on this one. Alright, I think he had to Leech Seed again or something. It's... Oh, that sucks. Well, I don't know if it really matters at this point, but Calm Mind, Scizor comes in, U-turn. He doesn't want to risk the Sun Thunder, Dragon Pulse won't KO. More reason to run Draco Meteor. If you get a Calm Mind with Latios, and then you get the Draco Meteor off, that's pretty awesome. So here comes the Tina, ready to Shadow Sneak the Jirachi. Oh, this got interesting, but it just, yeah, I mean, the Specs Dialga is always just winning this one. So, I mean, I always enjoy seeing that. And, yeah, Scizor's not taking... Oh, I don't know what that was, but because Dialga is faster. But I guess that guarantee... No, that was a good move. It guarantees Latias gets the Calm Mind and beats the Ludicolo. And now Scizor bullet punches and doesn't even KO, but Dialga was in the back. So it's 1-1, and we're going into Game 3. So Froslass on this side, and well. In another video, I said like Giratina Origin is Darkrai's favorite lead matchup, but I think I take it back because Froslass is even more dominated by it. And it voids, and down goes Froslass, and it's asleep, and its sash is broken by Bad Dream. So this is a pretty brutal start. Even if he stays in and prays that the Darkrai is scarfed, and that he can stay in and try to get some spikes up, that's still, first of all, that's a pretty big prayer. Second of all, if it goes wrong, then enjoy your 5-6. And he goes to Jirachi instead, and Thorx goes to his Groudon, which is going to be his rocker. There's the U-turn. He can't get Froslass back in. So when you have Froslass and you don't have a good response to lead Darkrai, then you are in for a world of pain. And this is a good example of that. Palkia comes in. It can be threatening, but it better be boosted, or it's not doing much against a fully healthy team. As that Spatial Rend bounces off. I mean, if it's not choice, then yeah, okay, that's what I like to see. Now, that Toxic really stings. So like, see, even if, like, Rocks weren't going to make the difference there necessarily, but, when you try to rip through a fully healthy team with Palkia, then you wind up just missing your mark, and, when you try to bring the whole game back with it, and then it can't, like, carry the whole team on its own. You got to get something going for it first, so... we have the Bronzong Heatran combo you don't see very often, but those are two very good... Yes, keep watching, please. Those are two excellent defensive steals, and they cover a lot, and Heatran and Sun is very good against most variants of Palkia. So, and it's difficult to switch into, since Tina O is switching in, and that's not going to do anything. Yep, Roar, Dialga. Yeah, this is looking like a Heatran feast, as Dialga comes in, gets up rocks, and that Lava Plume does a million. That's got to be like naive or something. As he's forced to Draco Meteor the Heatran as his strongest source of damage. I do enjoy seeing the Life Orb on that Dialga, though. I love Life Orb setup Dialga, but this is too far beyond. So, I mean, you can threaten it with EQ, but he's got to make something else happen. Now, if this is the importance of like being prepared for your lead matchups, because if he hadn't just completely like given up his spikes and early momentum to the Darkrai, then he could have gotten up early spikes, gotten up early rocks, and the Groudon wouldn't have like completely denied any of that. And he would be sitting pretty with all of his Palkia and Giratina and Dialga. So, yeah, and yeah. So we don't know what the last is yet. Assumedly some speed, because it's not a Scarf Palkia. So Scarf Kyogre or something would be effective. But yeah, the Groudon pivots in here. Groudons are such a great all-purpose walls everything, especially with Protect. That's a newer development, and it works because Protect is the best move in the game. So Draco does a lot, and it's probably gonna get toxic, and now it's on a timer because no spikes, falling too far behind from the beginning, and now Palkia switches in on the failed Protect, but it's also poisoned, so it's just on a timer, and Aqua Tail, well, that must be Luster Sword for it to KO Bronzong like that in Sun. Maybe that might just be overestimating Bronzong, but in comes Darkrai. There's Jirachi to take that at least, and it's Scarf, so it's going to be taking a lot of damage, but at least you can U-turn out once, and in comes Giratina. So Giratina at least is going to Well, it's gonna get another KO probably, or I mean even with the double protect thing. Oh well, now it's not even gonna get a KO. But even if it got a KO, then it was still like very, very far behind, with Froslass basically being a non-entity and Jirachi being useless and Palkia being pretty much almost dead anyway. So it's like even if the Giratina got the KO on the Groudon, because does it really make a difference if Groudon KOs this one or if Giratina KO'd it? No, because it's all on Groudon's shoulders to carry through the entire rest of the team. Anyway, so even if this is a Rock Polish Groudon, and there's Life Orb, and now there's going to be Speed, so Latias is going to clean this up. The Latias Heat Train combination is going to, I mean, even with the grass not doing no damage, then, well, I don't know if he really had to. I guess he doesn't want the Groudon to set up at this point. Well, okay, he just wants a free switch in for his Giratina, which is going to, if it subs up, then that's, I don't know if it needed to Calm Mind, but if it subbed up, then that was certainly the game. So now it doesn't have Protect, it seems. Is it like Calm Mind Rest or something? Well, he's going to pressure stall these Iron Heads anyway. That's one nice thing about Ubers, that even if when Jirachi tries to, flinch through everything, then it runs out of Iron Heads too quickly because of all the pressure. This would be a really silly way to lose. I mean, there's still the Scarf Darkrai, I guess, but that... Okay, so it rests, but I would say that was definitely going to be deserved if the Jirachi had managed to flinch through that when it actually has rest. So, but yeah, it's Crotina, so that very bold as it does, a grand total of nothing. Probably not going to get 3 KO'd, and Dragon Pulse. Yeah, so now the game is super over. So. Yeah, that should have been, I think that could have been handled a lot more cleanly, a lot more safely, but the job was done. So you got to be careful around Darkrai leads when you're leading with something super vulnerable to it. So that's the Giratina sweep. So that's it for this one, and I will catch you guys in the next one.